Hello and welcome to this demo of Bloom. We're trying this concept where instead of showing a presentation, we just go into the text editor and start working with a Bloom document. So the problem is that with code tools, we tend to have a barrier for other users. Most of our teachers and professors will work their notes on a text editor. And what I want to mention here is that a lecturer is going to take the same time typing down his lecture notes on any other tool. It could be Microsoft Word, it could be a normal text edit tool, or it could be this. So the concept here is to go through this story of a professor typing down his own notes for trigonometry. So what we're seeing is the Bloom YAML file, except that it's not yet formatted. So let's see what happens now with this video. So we're using comments to have as well a conversation with our viewers. And the rest of the text that is not commented is part of these notes of, on this topic, trigonometry. And after we finish them, we will convert them into a readable format inside of our Bloom object or our Bloom project. And we will be able to integrate some interaction right away in a question of minutes and see that running in a Jada platform. So the first block of content is a very basic exposition content that explains what is trigonometry. And this is very common on any lecture notes. Then what comes next is more like an indication for interaction. So in the normal document, this would be just a text note, a reminder to the professor, so that at the lecture time, he opens up this discussion. So this is almost like the notes for the lecturer, which contain exposition elements, and eventually they come with certain notes that can help moderate the lecture, facilitate the interaction. And what is the typical experience as a professor is you have your notes and then you go to your audiovisual production department, the programmers and the designers, and you come to them, give them your notes, and they'll say, yeah, we'll have a look at this. We'll give you a call later. We'll send you an email when this is ready. So this can take days and weeks, depending on the priority of this content. And the idea is that Bloom will enable everyone to go in minutes, if not seconds, to build their interactive contents. So Bloom is not a programming interface. It's not a programming tool as much as it is a layout tool. It contains different objects that will provide you with this interaction. It contains a lot of questions. You can organize these questions into quizzes. You can have many social interaction models. And you can have as well formatted text. So what we're seeing now is how do we convert these notes into a Bloom document. So you see now we are adding on top of everything there's a page, and inside this page you have different elements, titles, subtitles, texts. And it turns out that just by putting these tags, what you're actually doing is very similar to what you would do in web design. So in web design, you define a certain text inside an HTML file, and then you will add these tags so that the semantics of the HTML define the way this presents itself in a web page. So in our case, this is a way in which we can introduce to our Bloom developers into web development. But it's simpler, so we don't need to have two complex CSS classes or the whole JavaScript interaction. We just name things the way we want them to be painted, and we can see them straight away. In this example, we're also showing images. So the way you put an image is pretty simple. You just bring the image inside of a folder called assets, and then just invoke that image with an object called image inside of your document, and it will show in your browser immediately. So now, removing these comments, let's go for the magic part. So far, this is a static file. It's nothing else but a normal web page. And we see that we can organize stuff now inside of some elements that are available through a style framework called Bulma. And in this case, we're putting inside of boxes all this titled image, subtitled, and text. And now the fun part is that we don't need to restrict ourselves just to these layouts. So we can do really amazing stuff. And what's coming up now is we're going to put a chat box inside of our content. And we just need to put an object called chat, define for this chat an ID. And the ID is important because it's going to hold the data for us. So this is going to connect to a backend, and it's going to be able to exchange messages. So this version is a local one, and it's going to be working. So you can type actually a message. And once we have this and we have the content that we want to have, then we can compress that into a zip file and bring it up into our learning platform. In this case, Bloom, the tool that we're seeing now, works with Jada, which is a learning management system based on the software as a service model that we market. Now, one of the features that's amazing, and it comes from the experience of a professor running through his class, is this synchronicity feature. So you see now, we just added a parameter, we just added an attribute to the box that is sync, and then we put a name on that. And it means that as a lecturer, I can control now which elements are going to be shown and which are going to be hidden during the lecture time. So it's not anymore a content that you put out there and it's asynchronously reviewed, but now you can also define what happens with this interaction. So we're ready now to compress this into a zip file and bring it up into the platform. And once we do that, we're going to be logging in with two different roles. The first role is going to be a lecturer or an admin. And the second role is going to be a student. So you'll see now how the lecturer is going to start the content, and he's going to be able to open up the chat box for everyone, start having a conversation, and eventually say, it's time to go. We'll close this chat. And this will give a fantastic level of control of what things are being shown. The example is just a chat box, but every element that we have available in Bloom, questions, even quizzes, full quizzes, if we have a way of organizing them through tabs or slides, we can put 10 or more questions, and at some point say, let's just open up the quiz. You have 10 minutes to answer all of them. It's going to be an exam, and after you finish this, we close the quiz right into our content. So now we're logging as on the left side, we're an admin or professor or lecturer. and on the right side you see the student. So as a lecturer, I have access to the chat, and I can post some messages if I want to have preloaded in my interaction. So in this case, we're just putting some messages for our users. And we also have, on top of all of this, we have an analytics tool so that we can collect the data. If we have a conversation, we can record that. So now that the chat is on, you see now the student is able to see the conversation. And now we're going to go through this simulated conversation where the professor is going to be asking students to give some, generate some ideas around trigonometry. What do you use trigonometry for? And then a student comes in and says, we can use trigonometry to measure the Earth diameter. So you see all these events are happening now in real time, and they're going through our backend, and they're being collected and presented immediately. No need to reload anything, so it just runs in a very reactive way. And once you have this conversation finished, you can say to your students, okay, time to go, and you turn off the chat, and then you can access, if you want to, the conversation. You can download that. During the chat itself, there's the chance also to moderate. You see some icons on every message, and that means a lecturer is able to turn on or totally erase a certain comment if he thinks it's not an inappropriate comment, or it's not part of this conversation. So now if you download the data, you'll see that a CSV file will hold all of the conversation with timestamps, the name and emails of each user. And there's a more advanced element there. You can download XAPI statements of all the conversation, which is a more powerful way of displaying this. So the beauty of what we have with Bloom is this is not something you need to necessarily set up a lot of stuff to have. It's out there already. This is running on our Jada platform. So the only thing that you need to do to access this this content would be to join us, to start your account in Jada.training. We have right now thousands of users taking advantage of our platform, and many of them are already experiencing these type of mixed contents where you can have expositive contents like videos, documents, and whatnot, combined with questions, combined with social interactions, with social boards, with word clouds, with comments, with reactions, with polls. So you basically can put everything you want in your content just in the same platform. You don't need to spread around 7 different licenses. So you just go here, go to Jada.training. If you want to, you can also use your translator so that you can fill out the form. And depending on the country you're starting your account from, we'll make sure that we set up your platform in your language. Currently, we have English, French, German, and Portuguese, including as well Spanish, which is the native language of the team. And once you have that, you can jump and decide to increase your license package, and include in your package your Bloom license, which will allow you to produce all these mixed contents. So I hope you like this this demo. We're probably going to be working on a more marketing version that goes faster. So this is more like the creator's comments on top of the video, and I look forward to have your opinion about this. So thanks for watching, and see you later.